In this video, I'm going to talk very briefly about where Python looks to find modules. So I mentioned in the earlier video that Python has a specific set of places where it looks to try to find Python modules. So if we go into the Python interpreter, and here I'm intentionally going to use the standard Python interpreter and not IPython. If I say import sys, if I say from pretty print, import pprint, and then if I pretty print out the sys.path, and pretty print is just going to print it out in a more readable format, you can see a set of directories that Python is going to look through to find a given module. So the very first one listed there is a null string, and that means look in the current working directory. And then it's going to search in this student 5 Python lib, student 5 Django. These ones are two that I've specifically set, and I'll show you in a minute how I set those. And then it looks in some system locations, and then it looks in some locations associated with my virtual environment. But the key thing is it makes a list of places that it looks to find a given module. And one other key thing there is one of the places it's going to look is your current working directory. So if you create a new module and are trying to figure out where do I locate this new module, one place you could put it would be just in your current working directory. Another place you might locate it would be in site packages of your virtual environment. Now you can also modify the locations that Python uses to find, you can modify the locations that Python uses in sys.path. How do you do that? So this is going to be Unix specific or Linux, Mac OS specific, but you basically are going to set a environment variable. So we set this Python path environment variable, and that's going to modify the directories it looks through to find a given Python module. So here I've added, this home student 5 Python libs, and when we were looking at sys.path earlier, we had seen that I had added home student 5 Django X DJ project, and you could see that that was also on my sys.path. So I've just basically exported this environment variable. In fact, I've done it in my bashrc file, so it happens automatically when I log in. There's ways you can do this also in Windows. You just need to set up the environment variable properly in the Windows environment. Okay, so Python is going to use sys.path to find your module. One of the file extensions it's going to look for, and there's others, but one of them that it's going to look for is going to just be the .py file extension. Now, the very first time that you import a module, Python is going to make a byte-compiled version of that. So you can see here we have this underscore pycache directory. And actually, let me go ahead and remove that. Just blow it away. And now let me go ahead and just re-import this Python module 2. So if I go into IPython, I say import my module 2. And if we go back out of this, you can see that this directory got recreated. And if we look inside that directory, you can see that Python automatically created, my module 2. This is CPython specific with actually version 3.7 of CPython. And then it has a PYC extension. So this is a byte-compiled representation of this file. So the next time I actually import my module 2, as long as I don't make any changes to the file, it won't use the straight source code. It'll actually use this byte-compiled version, which is faster. Now, that doesn't have a lot of implications to you, except that sometimes if you have a file that you need to get rid of, not only will you need to get rid of the mymodule2.py, you don't want it to be imported any longer, you'll also need to get rid of the byte-compiled version of it as well. Now, the key takeaways from this are sys.path. So that's what Python uses to find a given module. The most important place that it looks is going to be in your current working directory, and then there's other places it looks as well, including site packages in general. You can modify sys.path by setting this Python path environment variable, and you can create other locations where Python will look for modules. So you create some modules that you want to use in multiple programs. Maybe you store them in some central directory, and then you make sure you modify Python path so that it's included on your sys.path, so that any program that you run will be able to access those modules.